All right, so fundamentally, the most classic yoga start here is a seated position. So just for a moment or two, take your time getting there. It starts with like meditation, just creating more mindfulness, being more grounded, present, kind of clear, like inner clarity. All right, so notice what I do. I just kind of like shake it out for a moment, my shoulders. All right, so it all starts in seated meditation. I used to always have people set an intention in the beginning of practice. I would give certain intentions. If that's something you like to do, good time to start that process. And before we get started with the physical movements, strengtheners, openers, a little bit more grounded, present, and then the breath work. So a slow, deep inhale, slow, deep exhale. Try to really focus your attention on your breath. Deeper inhale in the nose. Slower exhale. As you inhale into the abdomen, middle ribs, and chest, maybe now holding your breath at the top. Even slower exhale, even exhaling deeper than normal. So bringing a lot more detailed awareness into how, why we're breathing. Make sure you push the air out at the bottom. Just another 3 breaths here to start, yogis. You notice the first breath cue was just kind of take an inhale and an exhale. And then it was a little deeper, a little slower. And then it was adding things like where's the breath going? Abdomen, ribs, and chest, maybe adding breath hold. So there's these layers of awareness you can add into the breath. You can start to add bandhas, holding the breath at the bottom, back body breathing. And there's even more layers in that. But these are some of the fundamentals of the breath work. Now we're going to start with the Sufi roll. It's very classic meditative yoga start here. I'm going to keep some breath work going, but I'm going to start this. I do teach this, rather often. It's been a while. But I'm just going to start to circle my torso. All right, it's really nice here. You can start slow, smaller circles. You can go a little bit bigger circles gradually and even faster. And try to keep your eyes closed. Now, you can make this more core. You can go really slow and really turn the chest down. I've had us do this in the power classes where I start to go slow here, okay? You can go a little bit faster if you feel like you need to increase blood flow and warm up. So there are many approaches here, okay? And you notice my head is kind of lead in here. Another variation is where I let my chest kind of lead. See how the head is not moving as much? The goal is to kind of move the spine. If you think of your spinal joints all stacked on top of each other, they're rotating on top of each other. So, or not really rotating, more like the circumduction, right? It's like a big complex movement in the spinal joints. Okay? Let's maybe switch directions. Last few breaths, moving, breathing, getting into your body here. One thing I miss about the Zoom yoga is music during class. Music can be really energizing. It can give you a lot of energy and enthusiasm and change your mood. So I like to play soft music sometimes when I'm practicing. And if you want to do that, do that, because this is a good class for that. Okay, because we're not going to be too rigid about what we're doing. Okay, now here we go. We go right into our first stretch, yoga fundamentals. But it does start with what's called Dandasana. So I'm going to keep moving forward here, yogis. So feet about hips width distance. And notice, yogis, I'm not stretching forward. I'm actually trying to sit up. So to start, look how I bend my knees, take my hands on my hamstrings. I'm going to inhale, use my hands, elbows in, to lift my chest, my heart, cat-cow, right? Big exhale. Look how I kind of round my spine and lean back a little bit. Because I'm tucking my hands, my hips and my chin posterior tilt and spinal flexion. Go ahead, big inhale, hold the chest through. Think of it like a cobra. You know, the arms go back. Yeah, exhale. So it's a seated cat-cow. We don't do this one as often. So if you're new to this, see this hyper rounding, be a little careful there, okay? Inhale, really work on this extension, postural kind of lifting, okay? Last 2 or 3, please. Not gonna do too many. That's all core work too, right? Now, slide your feet more forward. Dandasana, okay? And to warm up, I'm moving a little bit faster through stuff here. Now, Dandasana, I want you to work on engaging your legs. So it's not easy, okay? Root your sit bones down. I want you to press your palms right down by your hips. The other fingers are forward. I want you to press your palms down, roll my shoulders back and down. Lift my chest, my crown, engage my legs. That is the posture. So I really do want you to activate a lot here. If you do this with effort, it's actually quite difficult. So engage your legs, lift your chest, press your palms down, roll your shoulders back and down, but also be slightly relaxed. Now, you can engage your legs in a way, your quads particularly, where you flex your feet. It's almost like your knees are pressing down flat so much that your heels hover like a 1/4 inch. So this is classic yoga fundamental. I don't teach this enough, guys. Good stuff here. I'm working on lifting the chest, rolling my shoulders back and down. Okay, does everyone feel that? That's work, right? Yeah. Okay, now before we forward fold, we will do another round of this. Watch me here. Cross your opposite shin in front. If you'd like, you can take a nice inhale and reach up. A nice gentle twist to the right, right hand behind, left hand outside the thigh. Notice it's the same idea of kind of lifting. So it's called extension rotation. Gaze over the right shoulder. Take a nice deep breath. Let's not forget this idea of directional breathing. So getting better at aiming the breath through particular parts of your body that the posture is also kind of opening, stimulating, or working, okay? Big inhale, arms up. Let's do our second side. Yogis, if it's too easy for you, breathe more intensely and you can twist stronger, but it is the first twist, right? Just work on like the postural core work and also relaxing certain areas like your shoulders, your face, okay? Okay, big inhale, take your time, arms go up. Now, if you'd like to try it, second round of Dandasana is here. So notice I'm working on sitting up very straight, engaging my legs in such a way where my heels hover a 1/4 inch. I'm not lifting the leg, right? I'm here. Now, if this is too much, you're here. If it's easy, you're here, okay? Reach up. Now, if you want an extra challenge, you know, we do this with a block between our hands. I'll let you decide. A lot more challenging. Don't hold our block. See how my fingers spread and I just squeeze it? And then I reach the block up, okay? And I engage my thighs, I reach up, and it's a very intense position. But I'm trying to relax a little and breathe. Last few breaths, shoulders still back and down, chest lifts. If you don't have a block, use an imaginary block. That works just good, all right? Okay, big inhale. Now go slow. You can hinge forward if it's in your practice. Maybe bend the knees a little bit. Slowly coming forward, like you're touching your toes. I know some of you like to put a strap around. You're welcome to do that. Just walk those hands forward. A little bit longer of a hold, couple of deep breaths. Notice that, you know, a tight person might look very rounded here. We want to kind of work, it's that same thing. When the spine rounds in yoga poses, we kind of work lengthening, almost back bending extension. When the spine back bends too much, or arches we usually call it in yoga, we kind of work out of that more into the rounding. So a good thing to remember, that's the fundamentals, yogis. All right, big inhale, your pace, right? Slowly sit up, let's swing our legs around. There's our first little tier of practice. If you need a cat-cow, you can, but I'm gonna pretty much skip that. but always good to, if you're feeling tight, add those extra cat-cows in. Good for loosening up your lower back. You know, it is yoga fundamental, so maybe you do one or two. Okay, but I'm gonna go right into activating our back body now. We were sitting cross-legged twice in the forward legs. I wanna get our back body turning on now, okay? So it's nothing fancy. It's alternating sides. Press your feet down. I inhale, right leg back, left arm forward. You pause for a moment, okay? And then I exhale, left hand, right knee down. It's really a fantastic exercise. Now get strong in your left hand, press down your right foot, nice inhale. Exhale. Notice it's moving, but it's slow, especially in the beginning. Inhale, right leg, left arm. Come on, feel that butt turning on now. Pull that belly in. Exhale. Inhale, right arm, left leg. If it's easy, you could always, kind of pulse that leg up. You could also do it in like plank pose if you want to go big, right? So last few side to side. Yogis, as you lift that leg, it's going to want to maybe put your back into an arch. Notice that and pull the belly in. That comes back to that idea. If the back wants to arch, pull the belly in a little bit. If the back wants to round, extend it a little bit, like arch your back actually a tiny bit, right? So just notice that. That's really important in our yoga practice here, okay? So you're here doing your nice little alternating shoulder and arm, all right? Now, right to our next exercise. Please take your time. I'm gonna widen my knees just a little bit. And for today's practice, we got all regulars. We're gonna go a little bit further with this one. It still is a fundamental. I'm gonna go all the way for the thread the needle. Now, I wanna walk my hands maybe a tiny bit forward and closer together. Widen my knees a tiny bit. Big inhale, right arm goes out and up. Now go slow. Right arm might reach all the way under, and I kind of lean down a little bit, maybe shoulder down. But let's not hold yet. Nice inhale. Nice exhale. So we've done this in many forms. If you peek up that knee for a moment, a little bit easier, something like this, where the elbow just taps the left forearm, let's say, and then inhale here. And you're kind of doing the same side. Just notice when my hips flop side to side. We've done this version in the more challenging class where the arm is behind the back, where we're here, okay? And there's also the alternating sides. So if one of those is calling to you, that's fine. I am gonna bring you into thread the needle hold at the end of this round, okay? So with that in mind, next time your right arm goes high, right arm goes underneath, and then you kind of bring it down, take a little breather, bring the head down, the left forearm down. Just notice that my hips flop left, bring them back a little right, try to relax. Now go into breath work, yogis. We want to remember that if we get too physically focused, let's bring it back to the subtle, the energy, the respiratory, cardiovascular work. More attention on that process, okay? Sometimes we get a little too kind of musculoskeletal focused. Let's bring it more to that energy breath work. That's not an easy posture to hang out in, especially if you're new to it. It can be quite uncomfortable. But now with practice, it's gotten actually very comfortable there, okay? I'll keep going here, guys. Push to that left hand, nice inhale. Look how I bring the right arm all the way out and up. So we're still on the same side, but look how I kind of pulse it a little bit. I pulse the right rotation. It's a big back fly. It all comes to the same thing. It's like extension rotation, okay? Right hand down. I like to kind of wiggle it out if it feels good. See how I draw circles with my hips? So I'm getting a little bit more free from the side. It's kind of like a big circle. That's good stuff, right? Just kind of free movement here and there after some more rigid kind of stiffening movement. So again, hands go a little forward, closer together. Inhale, left arm kind of goes up, slightly even back. And then exhale, go slow, left arm underneath. Now I'm not being too detailed, again, with how your hips relate. But again, the hips want to flop to the left. That can be, beneficial But again, just not like jamming that weight into any ranges. So we're threading the needle on the exhale, we're inhaling up. It's a big movement, guys. Don't overstrain your neck. This is one where sometimes I see people, it looks like they're kind of cranking the neck. You know, their shoulders are lifted. Be as strong as you're being, be also fluid and soft, all right? Make sure there's always that kind of balance. If you tend to be someone who's kind of tense, straining, lighten up a little bit, looser, softer. Someone who is maybe not good at activating, you might be someone I do want you to be more like, I don't want to use the word tense, but you know, a little bit more of that like active effort in the poses, in the end ranges, okay? Now, you know, somewhere between 6 and 12 is a good place to be. It doesn't have to be exact, okay? Next time that left arm is under, we're gonna take that thread the needle, the inversion meditation. You know, there are way more advanced versions here, right? You could do it, we do it in down dog, we do it in with their leg lifted here, but I kept it pretty simple. Fundamentals this evening. Close your eyes, breath work please. 2, 3, slow, deep Ujjayi breaths. Remember, you know, these inversions, not the most fancy muscular postures, but you are getting that hyperabduction shoulder, so it's helping stretch your outer shoulder, scapulae. It's increasing blood flow into the brain. It is a slight rotation, helps the digestive tract. A lot of benefits here. I did forget to mention, you could do this in child pose. It's easier, okay? We're gonna slowly push through our right hand. Let's bring that left arm out and up. It's this little pulse. So I give you a different angle this time. You can see the pulse is not just the arm, but also the core, the chest. Be easy on the neck there. Let's not jam the neck too much, all right? So again, the neck does kind of follow the rotational plane, but a little softer than the shoulders might be. All right, shake it out here. If you need a little wrist stretch, you can. I'm not gonna do that just yet. We're gonna go down dog, all right? So toes tucked, hips up and back. And I like to suggest lifting my right heel, pressing the inner left heel down. Stretching the big toe of the right foot, more of the calf of the left foot, the ankle, and then I alternate. And then I alternate. Alternate. And then after another, you know, time through, if I feel like I need it, I would go double heels down, bend knees, straighten ankles more, straighten legs more. I go bend my heels down, keep my heels down, bend my knees more. And then I kind of straighten my toes, my heels, my legs, everything lifts, but the hips step and back. So it's this kind of bending and straightening of the ankles and the knees, okay? Last few. Shake your head a little yes and no, might feel good. You guys know the drill here. I always mix in all these fundamentals throughout class. I always mix it with that new kind of approach, all right? All right, guys, so let's not hold too long. I'll let you decide. I'll kind of keep moving forward. All right, so I'm gonna do chaturanga work. Remember that chaturanga is like low plank, basically. It's a movement from high plank to low plank. It's not the whole vinyasa. So what I'm gonna do is shift forward. Since it's fundamentals, I'll do it on the knees. Just notice, yogis, I'm not here. I'm not gonna go like this. Look at my elbows sticking out. I wanna hug the elbows in a little bit more and shift forward a little bit more. So here we go. I'm gonna really start to grip my hands, press the index finger, the thumb down, and I'm gonna bend my elbows a few inches. I'm gonna pause. So let's get our strength going here. Now, my back's gonna wanna arch here, okay? So maybe bring those hips forward a little bit more, and straighten your arms. Come on, little weight bearing arm exercise. Bend those elbows. Pause and then straighten. If you need to do full push-ups, beautiful. If you need to hold the plank on your forearms instead, that's okay too. Some type of kind of plank, arm weight bearing, core plank work. All right, It is okay to switch it up. Many things we could do here. I like to add in those push-ups. But I know a lot of you are doing enough of this, and you might not need that this evening. Okay, and then I'm gonna just give you one set there. We're gonna take it down to the ground. We're gonna rock side to side and need a little release. All right, guys, good old gentle cobra. Stretching is coming. I want you to think a little bit more active back body, particularly in the lower lumbar. So I want you to press the feet down, the pubic bone down. Remember when we were seated and we activated those thighs? So our heels hover. Here, we activate the thighs, press the feet down, it almost makes our knees hover. I slide my hands a little bit more toward our lower ribs and hug my elbows in. I lengthen my neck, press pubic bone down. Here we go, nice inhale. I'm gonna lift the heart and the chest. You know, people do versions like this. You're more than welcome to. I like this because it creates that little bit of pull length. Okay, we're gonna lower down. Nice inhale. So I said active, and what I mean by that is like you're only lifting your chest as high as your back is strong. So you're not really using your hands, maybe like the tiniest bit, just to achieve a couple, centimeters of lift, and that helps that back kind of create memory of being activated in that area. But yogis, it's not about going up high just yet. We're gonna do something like that next, okay? So I like to call it a little back crunch, like you would say abdominal crunch. And again, try to engage your legs, yogis. We want the back to be strong with the legs being strong, right? So, the back is like designed to work with your legs. So, that's how we, most of the time, will train, unless it's rehab, right? Therapy, it's different, but in this kind of like, routine exercise practices, we're always kind of creating more of that compound where joints, body parts are working together, okay? Now listen, lower down, take a moment. Now we're gonna do one hold. Again, I'm kind of just windshield wiping, I'm a little sore today, so I'd be throwing an extra of this kind of self-care, just kind of mixing it in whenever I felt like I needed it if I was in class. So now we're gonna hold, yogis, all right? I do want you to keep your feet down tonight. Hug your elbows and slide your hands near your lower ribs. Lift the chest. If you wanted to do something like this, that's more than welcome. Arms back. Okay, you could even like intertwine your fingers. They're all pretty fundamental. But yogis, this is gonna make me arch my back a little more. So I gotta be a little bit more disciplined in pointing my toes, driving my pubic bone down, and lifting the chest. Okay, last few breaths. Now, if you have like acute back pain right now, you got to be extra careful, you get an injury, muscles don't activate for a month or two, or who knows how long. And there's a fine line, right? Because sometimes activating weak muscles hurts. Think of like rehab. You injure yourself, you break a bone, starting to build that up, it hurts. So we don't want to avoid it. Just take it easy, lift a little, okay? Let's lower down. Child pose, please. Big toes touch, butt to your heels. So our next option here, take your time. I want to demonstrate because we have full Chaturanga Vinyasa, down dog to high plank to low plank to cobra up dog, back to down dog, or we have the gentle variation. So if you want a quick demo, we have this version for more of my gentle practice. Big flexion, guys, okay? Inhale, engage my legs, pull my chest forward and up, hips toward my wrist, chin, chest in, shoulders back and down. And then it's a tuck of the chin, a rounding back. Now, if you want more, we have options, see all the way from down dog. You know this one, guys, more power practice, okay? Very similar. You don't even have to do the push-up. If you peek up at me, we have this variation. See how I never really bend my arms? Be easy, create length, guys. That's big bending. That's not for everyone. If anyone wants a superpower version, peek up at me. Notice how I bend my elbows? The hips stay up and back. The nose, the chest, the hips, the chin, the chest start to lift. The hips stay low. Watch. All right, so I gave you 40 different versions. Hopefully you pick something. And you know, it's anything where you're kind of moving forward and back. You know I had somebody in class this weekend, they had the back pain, right? And you know, I saw in class, he was kind of only holding the forward bends, child pose, and touching your toes, and you know, and it looked like jamming twists. I kind of recommend against that, actually. You know, we want to stretch your front body and strengthen your back body, most likely, and kind of stretch your side body, strengthen your lateral, open your lateral. Don't just stay in forward bends, guys. That's not good, because sitting is forward bent. A lot of us sleep in forward bends. You know, let's just kind of make sure we're being disciplined on ourselves, self-imposed discipline, to kind of explore those areas where we're a little less comfortable in a slow, safe, you know, way, right? We don't have to go crazy now. Yeah, nice. Some of you guys are doing inversions. I love to see that. You know, handstand's always welcome. I love that energy in class, okay? So here we go. I want to see you guys are enjoying practice, right? So now I want to sit on my ankles, okay? Take a breath here. Now this is going to be 2 side stretches, neck down, okay? So nice and easy. Just sit. If you can't sit on your ankles, this is classic yoga. We did a little warm up, sat on our heels in child pose. A lot of you are pressing back. Right ear, right shoulder. Just take a breath here. Maybe like a little lean back here. If you want more, you can go here, but just be easy. The neck's not used to weight on the average person, hyper range, or in any range, really. And here's where the directional breathing is really a collarbone and upper back breath. Remember, a lot of your neck muscles actually connect to your ribs, so they are, you know, really big breathing muscles, okay? Let's not hold that one too long. I'll let you decide there if you want to hold longer. We'll come back to center. Take it slow and easy. The left ear kind of goes to the back of the left shoulder. You remember in previous classes, we really broke this down. If you wanted the quick demo, remember when we did this? We tuck our chin and go left. And then we went center and left, and then we went back and left. It's good to be aware if you kind of have a pattern of doing one of those. I kind of have it in the middle right now. I don't have your head tucked forward or back, kind of right down the middle. I won't take the time to do all that this evening, but if one of those kind of calls to you, as I say, laterally bend the neck, if you do want to try to get the front or the back a little bit more, that's where you personalize it. You take those things we do in other classes. Now we're still on the ankles, right? We should probably get off of them, but we're going to stay like this. Neutralize your neck when you're ready. If you need to go like this, that might feel good. That does kind of connect there, right? A little lift and drop under the shoulders. Okay. Now watch what I do. I scooch my hips to the left. My feet go right. My right hip is still on my left heel. This is a big lateral tilt. So my pelvis kind of tilted like that, right? So this makes it a big side stretch. Now, if you can't do this and you need to sit on your heels or swing around and sit cross-legged, that's fine. Okay, we're going to sit up nice and tall. I could grab my right ankle with my right hand, or my right hand down, my left arm big up and open, big side stretch. Okay, so try to lengthen your neck, shoulders back and down, same thing. Just notice my right side body, it's very easy to just compress. Watch my right side, this side, watch. See how I create more length there? I am bending, but not like lazy compression. Compression can be good. You know, if you have certain intentions and goals through it, okay? Let's not hold too long, yogis. First big side stretch there, left hand down. That's the deep lower back, so you know, move a little forward. Heels under hips, heels to the left, hips to the right. And it takes a moment. It's an awkward one. You know, you see people just sitting like this. You know, that new yogis sit on the floor all the time, and you know, sometimes you're sitting like this. But you can see it's a big lateral tilt. Left hand down, right arm up. Go ahead. Nice deep directional breathing. Pretty obvious one here, right? Into your side ribs and underarm and your lower back. So as you breathe, right into the side body, okay? I could tell my left side was a lot more tight. So what I would do if I was practicing would be, I might even go back to my left side. Like that's what my body's kind of calling for. It's like a lot tighter. My underarm, like right here, my lat. So I would go back to my left side. I was in practice. That's how I would personalize it. Okay, I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying look out for that. Now I can feel it in my back. That's a big stretch, right? So we're gonna meet back in tabletop. You might have to shake out your feet, little cat-cow, right? But this next stretch is nice because it brings those asymmetrical legs. Here's where you might need your blocks, yogis. Okay, so it creates a little lift. We're gonna step our right foot forward. Now notice, some of us get here. Look how my hips are over my knee. That's fine, but for tonight's purpose, I do wanna crawl the right foot a little bit more forward or the left knee a little bit more back. All right, and a few times if I wanna go back and forward a little bit, you know, some of you might just be ready, boom, right? Don't wait for me because I'm taking a little bit slower pace and breaking it down. Don't be shy, you know? You feel good, you go big, okay? Press your feet down, eventually descending your hips more forward and down. I do want you to press your feet down, yogis. You know, a lot of times when people have back pain, this is a posture I'll recommend more. It's spinal extension. If you're sitting a lot, now the one thing we gotta look at is for like hyper anterior toe, the lower back and arch heavy. But I want you to press your left foot down and pull your chest forward up away from like your left knee, let's say. All right, I like to keep my hands on blocks. Like I said, you could go here, hands on thigh. You could even go here if you want to make it a big yoga pose. But again, you know, if you're trying for like therapeutic release, maybe you keep some weight in the hands and just work on pressing the feet down to create some of that active stretch. Notice my right hip is coming a little forward. Pull it back a little bit, okay? Last few breaths. All right, not gonna hold this one too long. Big inhale. Slowly scoot your hips back a little bit, crawl your right foot back. You can shoot your right leg back and shake it out as much as you need. I like to kind of move my hips side to side. I don't like to always just do counter, like say we do back bend to just do forward bend. I like to say, you know, oh, we just did back bend. How about we do a twist instead? Or if we're just holding still, we move in a different plane. So the counter is kind of a different plane of movement. If it's symmetrical, it's asymmetrical. If it's asymmetrical, it's symmetrical. Here we go. Eventually, right foot forward. Crawl right foot forward, right knee back. Take a few moments here. Okay. I'm kind of descending my hips. I'm moving in and out of the space a little bit before I hold a big stretch. Okay. Now, go slow here. Now, I did say I recommend this if someone has back pain. Yeah, that's like if they know they don't have like, you know, disc herniations and stuff like that that are like really in like a irritated phase, and you know, that's context. You know, I have back pain. What should I do? That's just context. There's no one answer for that. It's such a complex thing, right? Many causes of back pain and many ways to change it. So here we go. Press your feet down. Start pulling your chest forward and up away from your right knee, okay? Now again, I like to squeeze my pelvic floor, pull my belly in. Pulling the lower belly in takes you out of that kind of hyper lower back arching. And then, you know, another little thing you can do, it's not easy, is kind of like take your hand to your right butt cheek. And, you know, this is a hip extension position. So if you like squeeze your butt, like right under the butt, like right here, if you squeeze that muscle, that's also going to kind of be a little support in an anterior tilt. It's not going to let the weight dump as much into the arch. all right? Because the glute max, remember, is a little bit more of that posterior tilt, right? So I'm lifting my chest, a few more breaths. Now I want you to take your time, right? First thing I do is kind of lean forward, shift my hips back, slide the left foot back or right knee forward, and I just kind of neutralize for a moment. If Vinyasa Chaturanga might feel really good, Anjaneyasana, it's like runner's lunge with the back knee down. It's very fundamental in yoga, okay? So take your time here. That is actually considered like a back bend, even though the front knee's big forward bend. That hip flexor and anterior toe and spinal extension. So that's our back bend, all right? Shake it out a little bit, yogis, okay? Yogi squat is next. So it's like that front knee, but double, all right? So I'm gonna step my feet outside my hands, and I'm gonna try to drop my butt to my heels. You could always throw in crow pose and anything else, inversion. Push the elbows into the inner knees, lift the heart, the chest. We're just gonna hold yoga squat this evening as a group. I get too fancy often. We only got about 25 minutes left in practice. Let's stay focused. Now, as I push my knees open, my knees also push back into my elbows. When I started yoga, this was a very difficult pose for me, okay? Now it's really opened up. Just keep trying day by day. Like big inhale. We're gonna plant our hands. Slowly turn our feet in, lift our hips, bend our knees, and we're gonna rise up. We're not gonna hold that right now. You're more than welcome to if you need to. Take a moment, squeeze your butt. Like I said, back bend into forward bend. Might feel nice to twist. All right, shake it out here. Roll out your wrist a little bit. Wiggle your fingers. If you want to circle your neck lightly, just kind of move after a couple kind of stiff postures. All right, so you shake it out there. So fundamentals tonight, yogis. I don't take enough time to break down these basics. Just a quick Tadasana posture, mountain pose, feet parallel. If you look down, they should be kind of parallel, not turned out, not turned in, kind of, big toe right in front of the inner heel, okay? And you kind of start to activate your thighs, roll your shoulders back and down a few times, okay? And even here, some people kind of have this thing going, some people have this a little too much. Different person to person, right? So I tend to be here more. I tend to arch my lower back, lordosis. So I pull the ribs in more, tuck my hips a little forward. You would think that more people arch, but it's not really the case actually. So, more people's shoulders tend to be forward in the upper body. So most of us got to roll those shoulders back and down. All right. I'm trying to stack my heels. See how the middle, heel, the ankle bone is right over the middle hip, right up to the shoulder, and then the ear, okay? I used to take pictures of myself in posture. I'd have my little clicker with my camera, and I would do all these little adjustments, because it's hard to feel good posture until you see it. So maybe food for thought, you try that. Stand up tall, like someone's pulling the crown of your head up, even a slight lengthening through your back of your neck, okay? Yoga fundamentals, guys, all right? So keeping pretty much everything the same in your upper body, just slowly start to bend your knees, reach your arms forward, maybe up, chair posture, okay? So we're gonna go now weight bearing on the legs. We stretched them out pretty good. We did some stretches on the ground, and then we did some stretches in lunge. That looks good. What happens here is the body wants to tend to arch here. For me, I can pull the ribs in. Some people do get rounded. Pull that chest up more, okay? Sit a little bit lower, last few breaths. Okay, big inhale, guys. Go nice and slow. Fundamentals, stand up, left foot on the inner right shin. This is what I do in gentle yoga. If you'd like more, left hand takes left ankle up on the inner heel. Now from here, look how I reach up, guys, okay? Bounce on one foot. Now just notice if your toes are cramping. Try to lift the toes, like kind of wiggle them. Shift weight until the 3 arches. We do want the toes working though, so then you can put the toes back down and more kind of aware can use them. I see a lot of people's like feet in yoga class, they like turn white, like their toes. They're overworking. Try to bring more weight into the arches of the foot. And then put the toes back down and also use your toes, okay? Now go slow, big inhale. Left foot down, squeeze your butt a little bit, that's like a back bend. Arms can sweep back, down, forward and up, chair. Yogis, chair can be this. It doesn't have to be crazy. Or it can be what I did, hips as high as the knees, right? You know, I'll let you decide. Either way, we all should be strengthening those legs. Try to reach your arms up higher as you bend the knees a little bit more. And close your eyes and study where does the body feel over-irritated? Can you shift forward, back? Can you relax certain a little bit? Activate something else to take a little pressure out of that overused strained muscle. Now, go slow, stand up, right foot on the inner shin. Maybe right heel on the inner thigh. If the heel meets the thigh, push the heel in there. You get a nice trigger point on the inner thigh, kind of like a massage, and you push the thigh a little bit back into the heel. A lot of times I see it's that same tendency of certain people where the back will arch here, okay? Got to work on pulling that kind of lower abdomen in, lifting the side bodies, okay? I teach a lot of engaging the butt, guys. You know, I have been in yoga classes where the teacher tells you to relax your butt and everything. I think everyone's butt is relaxed enough. I remember when I was studying myology that when the glute max gets weak, I say this a lot in class, but it's a good reminder. If glute maximus is not doing its job, a lot of the other muscles around it have to tighten up to kind of take that load. So your lower back, your hamstrings, your psoas, your glute medius, they all lock up and really they don't ever release until glute maximus is strong. Letting your glute max get weak is a recipe for disaster, really. So try to remember that, yogis. We want to bring a lot of awareness to our butt, okay? Let's bring our arms and feet down. Shake it out a little bit, guys. Okay, so at the front of your mat, go slow. Left foot goes back. So I'm going to use this. This isn't like a true traditional yoga fundamental. The lunge is, though, okay? I want to get a nice lunge. Now, notice I do bend my knees again. You could try something, a little cat-cow here, just to feel it. Okay, little cat-cow, pelvic tilt, spinal movement. But what I'm going to try today is the push-pull, okay? So my hands are going to come in like I'm about to do a push-up. But as I exhale, I want to push my left arm forward and pull my right arm back, okay? And then I inhale, I push my right arm forward and my left arm pull back. Exhale. I can even twist a little right with the core. Inhale. Now, some of you are just going to stay a little bit more forward and back. Again, like I said, you could twist right and even almost go to warrior two. Pivot on the ball of the back foot, push, pull. Pivot on the heel, sole of the foot, push, pull, warrior two. But don't let that front knee cave inward if you're going all the way to warrior two, guys. Last few. Main goal is to hold lunge. Second little goal, nice tall posture and spine. Breath work, kind of pushing and pulling. Now the whole body kind of moving, okay, with some core, and the legs are stabilizing all the weight in movement, all right? That's like the foundation of Vinyasa Yoga, like, okay, listen, step your left foot forward. So like whenever we do Vinyasa, you know, we go here. When the body's moving, the legs are just sturdy and stable the whole time. So this is building some of those nice things for our Vinyasa. Right foot goes back. Okay, and instead of reaching our arms up again, we did that in tree and in chair. So let's keep our hands here now instead. This time on the exhale, my right arm pushes. Inhale. Again, I mentioned like more of the body getting better at working together. Literally, yoga means together. So, it starts with like your legs stabilizing, we're being pretty basic, and the arms moving, and then the core, the spine, the back gets involved more. And then it's more like you're pivoting on your feet and your pelvic, pivoting is happening, more like movement within the hip joints itself. So there's many layers and levels. Doesn't have to be exact, yogis. You want it more difficult, bend nose, knee, get low in the lunge. Okay? There's also like the pulsing. Where I like add this type of pulse. That's always like a thing you can add in any exercise. Like, any exercise has fuller range, slower, shorter range, more load. It always has like, bouncing. It always has negative. Every exercise has kind of all these different ways to approach it. So just remember that. All right, guys, now please take your time. We're gonna stand up at the top of our mat, give it a little shake. We're gonna step our feet open. So we didn't hold this before. I was waiting for this here. Now, if you wanted to keep your feet closer together, you're more than welcome to. You might want your blocks. Classic here. Take your hands on your hips, lift your heart and your chest. We got 2 more standing things and we're back on the ground. Let's start to forward fold. Again, hands could be on block. Waiting to the toes, maybe hands on the floor, maybe pulling on the floor. If you want to walk your hands over to a side, this would be a place in the class to do headstand. If you have that in your practice, good time to do it. Don't be shy though, guys. You want to hop up on the wall. If you need to take a little breather instead. A few more breaths. Right, we just came from chair, tree, lunge with big movement. So just kind of a forward bend, calm your nervous system, a little bit more symmetry in the body, okay? It's a nice kind of abduction too. So inner thighs stretch, outer hips shorten a little bit. All right, guys, so we're gonna bend our knees, hands on our hips, long, good core. Let's rise up. Last standing exercise. If you'd like to step to the middle of your mat, warrior 3. It's about as basic as the balance is after the chair, but it's usually not taught in the gentle yoga, okay? So little options here. If you want a little bit more, like I said, stretching out your shoulders, this is always good. This is the basic Sushumna Mudra in yoga. It's one of our main ways we kind of hold the arms in yoga to reduce muscular resistance, lengthen muscles that are a lot of times stuck short, okay? So I'm gonna slowly hover my left foot, bend my right knee, and then my chest and left leg stay on the same plane. Now, a lot of us might just stay here. Pulling the core in, lengthening through my side body's length. Some of us might go further. If you wanna go huge, it's standing split handstand hop, right? But it's not better, it's just different and depends on what you want to do tonight and your goal. So you're just holding warrior 3. It's about 30-second hold, that's it. You're already about two-thirds way through. Just as much as you work on strengthening, also work on, let's call it stretch. So just as much as you work on being active, be passive, okay? Now go slow. We're gonna bend that standing knee, stand up, squeeze the butt. Opposite pinky bind if you need to kind of shake your arms out. And then here, we don't even really need to do this Sushumna. Remember we did like this stuff in the beginning? That's all basically the same, reciprocal inhibition. So here we go. Opposite pinky, right foot hovers, left knee bends. Remember what I said before? Are your toes turning white and over cramping? Same thing here. We kind of noticed that. Lift the toes, bring a little bit more weight to like the arches of the foot. Then you put the toes down and engage the toes intentionally. Not unconscious cramping of the toes. Last 3 to 4 breaths here, about 20 seconds. And then we're going to slowly meet and standing, and just a little bit of that, right? You can't go wrong with that one. So yogis, we're going to make our way down to the ground and all the way to our back. We're going to finish up with our last 2 active things on our back, and then a stretch or 2, and we're done, okay? So feet go wide. Remember how we did yoga squat in the beginning? Revisit it one more time, trying to come down from the top. So I like to reach my arms forward. It just offers me a little counterbalance. If you have trouble with yoga squat, see how I grab the edge of my table? It's really nice to like work squats grabbing something. It's gonna help you. Another nice little thing you could do is roll up your yoga mat, and then you put your heels on your mat, and that's really nice because you're not gonna be shifting all that weight into the front of your toes. You can put some weight down into the heels. So those are a couple things to get better at squatting. Holding something like a strap, a wall, something in front of you, and or rolling something up, putting something up under your heels. All right, here we go, guys, down to our butt and our back. So you're going to windshield wipe, and I'm just going to go straight for the front line. Now, this is the same exact exercise we did when we were in tabletop earlier, except it's front line in the lower body and the abs, and it's more of like the underarm, back line into arms, okay? So we're gonna meet here. Notice how my hands are under over my shoulders, my knees are over my hips. Ball the feet touch. Now the main goal, yogis, is to press that lower back down. So it's like I'm pulling my belly button down into the floor. Inhale, right leg, left arm, pause. Remember we did this earlier in table? Press that lower back down, guys. Exhale. Inhale, opposite leg, opposite arm. Press the lower back down. Okay, inhale, opposite leg, opposite arm, pause. Exhale, continue. This is used, a lot of these things are used in physical therapy, right? And they call it the dead bug, right? You're kind of on your back and you're like this. You're more than welcome to do a more strenuous abdominal exercise, but this is the basics, okay? The main thing is to push your lower back down. Do not let the leg and arm going forward peel your back up, and that takes a lot of work. Okay, give me 1 second. Adobe wants me to update here mid-class. Okay, thanks Adobe for reminding me. Where are you guys? I can't see you. There you are. And then what you do eventually actually here, guys, is it's like the double. So you're doing opposite leg and arm, you press your lower back down, you go like this here. In the athletics, we go a lot further with this, obviously, but I'm saying with the fundamentals. The main fundamental here is press your lower back down, move slow. Keep the tension. As the right leg goes forward, left arm goes back, that's tension strength, right? It's kind of like your muscles are elongating and have to be strong. There's weight there. As the arm goes out, leg goes forward, and then you pull it back. That's the contraction, the concentric, right? So it's a fantastic one. Do that, like, you can do that every single day, really, guys. You don't need one day off. Along with what's next, the bridge. Okay, so last active thing here, guys. We're probably going to go to about 6:35. If you need to head out early, that's always fine with me, okay? Let's press our feet down now. Maybe a block, that's hard to beat. Get a little adductor activation, your inner thighs. It's not activated enough, guys, okay? So I'm going to squeeze that block lightly, position my feet. It's slightly wider than like a block width. Okay, arms down, press my lower back down. Here we go. Remember, this starts, I could break it down here with the pelvic tilt. We've done that countless times. You see this? How I'm doing cat-cow in my pelvis, lower back. So as I arch my back, my hips press down. As I press my lower back down, my hips lift. So that's really the basic start of our bridge. So I press my lower back down, lift the pelvis up, and then peel the back up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Okay, and I pause, squeeze the heels. And remember I mentioned like engage your butt here? You know, that's a big debate. You hear people say, do I use my butt or not? I say more often than not, yes. Do I ever do bridge trying to use like more of just my hamstrings? Yeah. You know, do I work way more on posterior tilt here? Definitely. So, you know, you can do a hip thrust all your life and be in a big anterior tilt, and your glutes are not going to build that much. So you want that pubic bone to start to come forward enough. It's a really big thing I see, guys. You know, I'm at the gym, people have like 300 pounds on their hip thrust, but they're in like a huge anterior tilt. And it's just like an oxymoron. It doesn't make sense. You want to get the glutes building, you got to think posterior tilt and hip extension in compound. All right. Now, slowly lower down, take a little breather. We're just going to do one more round. Good old 2 here. If you want to go big, do a one-legged round. Or, you know, if you really want to go big, you go wheel pose. Okay, so last, how about we say a good 30, 45 seconds for a nice kind of medium hold. Try to work your breath in it. You know, like I said, how do we activate the hamstrings here? Your heels are kind of pulling toward your shoulders. All right. Remember I said like use a lot of muscles a little as opposed to a few muscles too much or a lot. Pull the heels toward the shoulders, but you want to do that potentiation of press the big toe down. A lot of people I see rolling the outer edge of the feet, press that big toe down. That's a game changer. It doesn't show how much it really changes it at first. Another nice thing here, guys, I mentioned the posterior tilt, but lengthen like your side bodies and your waist. I noticed that helps take a lot of pressure out of my lower back too. So those are some good kind of fundamental cues there. Posterior tilt, hip extension, knee flexion, and kind of elongating through the torso. All right, well, it looks like most of you are done, right? So that's my cue to go forward. So that's after the active back bend. Let's do our figure 4, good old figure 4 here, guys. Right ankle on top, left knee, thread the needle. Flex that right foot and pull gently, guys, okay? Try to relax your head on the floor and your lower back on the floor. And now, just think a little bit more meditative. I do suggest pushing the outer edge of your right foot and heel, ankle into that left knee. You know, a lot of times the activation of certain body parts creates the, let's call it release of the body. I've tried to describe this idea of reciprocal inhibition by activating, let's say, my bicep. It can cause my tricep to potentially lengthen, release, soften. But we don't want to like overstrain, right? So it's like a light activation if we're trying for reciprocal inhibition quality. And that's another thing. People are like, I've been stretching this muscle for years and won't get more flexible. Well, then we got to strengthen certain things and reciprocally inhibit it, right? It's not like you need to stretch it anymore. Okay. Now take your time. You're just going to kind of switch sides whenever you feel good about it. And before I forget, yogis, like I said, Wednesday night might be like a rotating class. I was thinking about doing like a little yoga sculpt class. We have a couple 2-pound weights. If you don't have 2-pound weights, you get a can of tomato sauce, right? Or a can of beans. That'll work, right? But how about if we did a yoga class like this, and you have the option of adding like a little weight with maybe some arm movements, maybe using some light weights. If you need weight for your legs, you get a couple gallons of water. They're 8 pounds each, right? So getting one of those 2.5-pound jugs of water, nice 20 pounds, that's going to be more than enough. But I think it'd be cool to try that. So let me know. Send me an email if you like that idea. I'd like to work that in. Like, how can we work a little bit more weight training into our yoga? It's really good stuff, guys. So that's one of my ideas. I did have, maybe work with flexibility. We do flexibility on Mondays, but maybe working like a strength training class and a fast twitch class. If you remember in beginning of November, or I think it was actually mid-October now, that we did like a fast twitch class where I had you kind of moving fast a little bit. I think we should bring that back around too. So I'm going to use this class to kind of work in some fun things for you guys. So we're nice and well-rounded, having some fun and being creative. Let's keep going here, guys. Final twist, butt on the floor, knees into chest. Scoot your hips left, let your knees fall right. Widen your arms, look to the left, final neck twist. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna give you one option, and then it's a closing short Shavasana hold, okay? So go back to your directional breathing. I like to take big breaths into like my lower back and abdomen here and hold the breath, particularly in twists. For people who have trouble with this idea of lengthening through the spine and the torso, big inhale and hold is a great way to kind of help that happen, all right? So take your time. We're gonna come back to center and we're gonna switch sides with your final twist here. I talked about doing a little yoga anatomy workshop on Sunday, and now I've been working with one of my main clients and his family on Sunday. I'm over there for a good, like, I was over there at 5 hours last Sunday. So, I want to get that going here. I've already started doing some notes and stuff of what I want to instruct. So, let's keep a, look at on our email. I might try to, if he takes a weekend off, I might throw that in there, maybe be like an hour or two. And we're just going to like do some postures, but really kind of like talk about anatomy. I might even like screen share things so you can see muscles. I'm like, see, this is that thing I'm talking about, posterior tilt with the glute and hip extension, or, this is the difference between, the fast twitch and the phasic, versus the tonic and the slow twitch muscles, just to like bring some more awareness into this stuff, okay? So listen, guys, we're gonna come back to center. Final pose of choice. A nice little option could be, just this, letting your knees fall open. You can even kind of do two things at once with a block under your head, kind of get a little neck massage, traction. Another nice option to head on the floor could be butt lifted with the block. These are all fundamental in yoga, or legs up. That Viparita Karani. This is how we usually do inversion for the legs and the gentle. Oh boy. So, new puppy here. She got out of her little containment. So holding your legs up gets that drainage, really good for you. If you want to do anything else, a little restorative fish pose, a breathing exercise, that's good too, okay? So let's give you one more minute, and then we're going to do our final meditation. Oh, yeah. All right, Yogi, so you know the drill here. Even if it's just 2 minutes, it's been a pretty calm class overall, I'd say. Nothing too strenuous, but we got a couple push-ups and, some core work and glute work and standing stuff. So, if you want to sit, that's fine. I just want you to relax for like 2 minutes. All right, all about, training that parasympathetic. I remember years ago, William Blaylock, he's a famous clinical neuroscientist. He said, like, it seems that humanity's whole goal is to like work on the evolution of the parasympathetic brain. In a sense, it's like the mental capacities that we have that animals don't. Like the idea like compassion or self-awareness or heightened and critical thinking, a lot of different things, coherence. And that all happens in that like parasympathetic. So, we want to relax. It's a great way to induce this kind of more creative, intelligent brain center. Okay, so one last big inhale if you'd like. Nice big exhale, and just relax. Let's just do 2 minutes tonight, a short variation.